So, in preparation for an upcoming video, I decided to go on a particular person's Instagram feed and scroll down, and what I found was a jewel. Actually, what I found was a diamond encased in coal. So I brushed it off to the side, and I'm like, this is actually going to make a fantastic video. So, let's jump right in. It is a picture image that goes like this. The message should be that girls, no matter how much skin they show, are still worthy of being taken seriously and given respect. Now, I could make a 5-minute video just on that statement alone, but let's continue. The second statement reads, you can choose to keep your body covered, or you can choose to be half naked or nude. This choice does not dictate your right to respect. Now, I can make a whole 5-minute video just based on that statement alone, but let's keep going. Let's read the final statement. And just because something you do gets attention doesn't necessarily mean you need it or should demur from being yourself and doing whatever you want. And I could make a 5-minute video based on that statement alone, but I'm not. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create a 15-minute video talking about this entire picture text message thing right here. And this is going to be a doozy. So let's start right at the top. The message should be that girls, no matter how much skin they show, are still worthy of being taken seriously and given respect. Yeah, that's right, because if Barack Obama, the President of the United States, decided to have a State of the Union address and shirtless and in some khaki pants, and we should take him just as seriously as we take everyone else, right? I mean, he is still the Commander-in-Chief. We should still give him the same respect, right? Right? Well, of course not, because that's not the world we live in. Sorry, we don't live in a world where you can dress however you want to dress and still be given the same amount of respect. The way you dress has an effect on the way people are going to address you. That's why there's a specific type of dress codes. That's why there's a specific type of class and decorum that you have when you go into a job interview, when you go to school, when you do anything else. You know, the way you look, the way you appear is going to have an effect on how people look at you. But you know, the interesting thing about all of this is, you know, this is not a problem that only affects women. This is a problem that also affects boys too. You know, the way I even learned that the world is more primarily focused on the way you look, and you know, your looks have a gigantic impact on how people address you, is because of women. You know, if you take a look at my channel or look at earlier videos, you'll see that I have a really scruffy and mangy beard. Well, guess what? A lot of girls used to think that I was creepy, or used to think that I was weird, or something was up with me because of that unkept, you know, mangy beard. Now, in order to avoid a creepy first impression, you know, I realized that I was going to have to shave that beard and keep it managed. And of course, I do look a lot better than I did then, admittedly. But the point is, you know, women, actually the thing about women is women will criticize men even harsher based on the way they look. So I mean, this is not a problem that only affects girls. It's a problem that affects people. You know, it's a people thing that goes on here, and it is completely and utterly ridiculous to even say a statement like that. You know, I mean, that's just because it's just not true. It's just not true. You know, I'm sorry, that's not the world that we live in. You know, if you want a lawyer to represent you, you don't look for somebody, you know, in some khaki jeans, you know, on the side of the street with a sign that says, hey, we'll work for money. We'll work for food. I'm sorry, you know, just, you're not going to find, you know, you're not going to have a lawyer. You're not going to take that lawyer seriously if it comes up to you, you know, his hair's all messed up, you know, it looks like, you know, he hasn't taken a shower in 3 weeks. You're not going to ask him to represent you. So I'm sorry, you know, the way you dress has an effect on you, and it affects both boys and girls. So it is completely ridiculous to even say a statement like that. Alright? Moving on to the next statement. You can choose to keep your body covered, or you can choose to be half naked or nude. This choice does not dictate your right to respect. Well, see, here's the interesting thing about all that. Now, I could simply say that respect is not given, it is earned. You have to earn people's respect. You don't just get it because you are a person or you are a woman. You have to do something of merit, and you have to do something of value to get people's respect. You don't just get it. I could say that, but that would be too easy. So let's make it a little difficult. Let's say I agree with you. I agree that everyone should get a baseline level of respect, as in you shouldn't put your hands on them, you shouldn't take their stuff, you should leave them alone. Everyone gets that baseline of respect. But again, the way you dress and the way you appear and the things that you do affect that level of respect that you do get or you don't get. So unfortunately, you're right. I mean, you do have a right to be treated well. I guess you have a right to be treated well. You certainly have a right to do whatever you want to do, but you have to have the understanding that, the world doesn't conform to the way you want it to be. And I think, these first two lines are absolutely terrible to girls. This is not empowering, like, at all. I mean, if you really wanted to empower women and girls, what you would do is you would tell them that, their choices matter and that the way you dress has an effect on people. And depending on the way you want people to view you, you're going to have to dress a certain way. You're going to have to dress in a manner that accurately reflects the image you want to put out. If you don't want to put out the image that you look like a streetwalker, then you would not dress in super revealing clothing or in super tight dresses or skirts. I'm sorry, that's just not the world that we live in. And I think, and while it's true that just because you dress a certain way doesn't mean you are a certain way, I mean, I completely agree with you, The way you appear does not accurately reflect you entirely, but it has an effect on your image, and you have to understand that world. And again, I learned that from women. So, I mean, it's incredibly ironic that there's a statement here that is telling girls that they should be taken seriously and given respect for showing skin. But I mean, if men don't have nice shoes, if men don't dress a certain way or come correct when talking to girls, they'll immediately discount him. I mean, the same way with jobs and everything. This is ridiculous. This is counterintuitive and backwards to the culture that we live in, So I think one person who really sums this up best is Dave Chappelle. So I'm going to leave a link here to go to the exact timestamp of where he sums everything up. But we're going to move on. Now the final statement reads as this: and just because something you do gets attention doesn't necessarily mean you need it or should demur from being yourself and doing whatever you want. Well, this is a funny statement. It's funny because, first, it is a true statement, and the statement's true. Just because you do something that gets attention doesn't mean that you need it. I mean, there's lots of people who do things that get them attention. It doesn't mean that they're craving it or that they're looking for it. However, what this statement clearly is trying to put off or trying to slide under the rug is the fact that so many people absolutely look for and seek the attention of other people. And because this message is to girls, let's be honest, there certainly are a lot of girls who try to obtain attention. Specifically, they try to obtain attention from being attractive young ladies, which would include dressing provocatively or dressing in a way that emphasizes your curves or shows a lot of skin, shows your legs, dressing in really short shorts, dressing in revealing shirts and revealing clothing, etc. You guys know what I'm talking about. And so the statement is right. Just because you do something that gets you attention doesn't mean that you're asking for it or you're looking for it. I mean, you could do a backflip off a trash can. It doesn't mean you're seeking attention. You could just be practicing. I mean, yeah, that's true there. But the very obvious truth is that there are some people who look for attention. There are. There's no way around it. And let's be completely honest here, because a lot, and again, we have to be honest. So a couple of months ago, I made a video called "Is She Looking for Attention?" Now, the entire point of that video was not to flesh shame any of the girls. The point was to show that some girls desperately seek out attention, that sometimes it's just ridiculous. Take a look at this picture right here. This is ridiculous. That makes no sense whatsoever. And of course, there's lots of other different examples to show you the desperate lengths that some women go. Some women do use their bodies to obtain attention. And so again, the final statement is true in a sense, it's true, but however, and its truth, it is trying to cover up the fact that some people are desperately seeking attention. Now, the caption that was written with this picture goes like this: "Your right to respect isn't diminished by how much skin you show, nor is it a reflection of a lack of self-respect." And, well, again, the first thing we could say is you don't have a right to respect. You may have a right to pursue happiness, to live your life. You may have a right to even be left alone, but you don't have a right to be respected. And that is unfortunate, but you can't force someone to respect you. That's We don't live in that world, you know. So, and unfortunately, you guess what? You're right. True respect is slightly diminished by how much skin you show, based on, you know, context, or based on where you are. You know, some girls do purposely try to turn themselves into sexual objects, to only be viewed at as things for men to have sex with. And it's sad, absolutely. I'm not going to argue with you. It is a terrible thing that some girls have such low self-esteem. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes it is a reflection of a lack of self-respect. Sometimes it really is a woman showing you that she lacks respect, and she only wishes to be appreciated for the way she looks. I'm sorry, that's reality. Some women are like that. Some women are, and of course it's not everyone, but I mean, it's really hard to tell. When you meet so many different women who have such low self-esteem doing this, I mean, it's hard to be able to say that a woman with self-respect would dress revealingly. It's hard to say that a woman with any level of self-respect would dress in a manner that did not reflect, you know, her curves. You know, and I think one gigantic problem really is in our society is a lot of women, I don't think a lot of women know how to be feminine without being overly sexual. You know, I think when you take a gander at a lot of the different, you know, role models that we have, you know, for example, let's take Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez for a second, right? Like, their path to adulthood from doing kid shows was immediately to start talking about sex. Immediately, it was just jump to only having sex or something, or talking about, like, I think it was Selena Gomez is like, if you're ready, come and get some shit like that. Anyway, the point that I'm making is that a lot of transition that these child stars have to adulthood oftentimes is them being sexual. And a lot of girls grow up to think that, you know, a lot of people in general grow up to think that, you know, being sexual is the entire, you know, preface of being an adult, or is the entire meaning of being an adult. You know, instead of writing more complex lyrics or more complex music, they just start talking about having sex, you know what I'm saying? Or they start talking about terrible relationships, you know? And that's, you know, I think a lot of girls kind of grow up in an environment where they see their role models, you know, let's, for example, we can use Kim Kardashian, you know, break the internet. Kim Kardashian got a lot of attention for taking off her clothes, and as a girl, when you're lonely, you don't get that attention. You say, well, you know what, if Kim Kardashian can do it, perhaps maybe I can also get attention. And some girls do seek attention that way. There's just no way around that, unfortunately. That's the world we live in, and we have to, you know, give these girls role models that show a classy side of being feminine, that really show that you can be feminine and you can be modest and you can still obtain that respect. Because remember, you know, the image that you put out has an effect on the way people address you. You know, the way you dress has an effect on how you're addressed. You know, interestingly enough, I mean, not even girls, I mean, girls, they don't have role models that, you know, really show a good image, you know, of modesty for women, or an image, you know, of decorum. Like, I mean, not even Wonder Woman. I mean, Wonder Woman dresses like a stripper. Well, actually, not the new Wonder Woman. The new Wonder Woman for DC's Convergence lineup looks fucking badass. I mean, seriously, she does. Look at her costume. That is a pretty fucking cool costume, I will admit. So, I mean, I guess they're getting better. DC is finally pushing away from that over-sexualized version of Wonder Woman, and even Starfire. So they're getting better, but unfortunately, a lot of women, especially our generation, grew up, you know, bombarded with the sexualized image, and they think that that's the best way to get attention. Unfortunately, it is, and they do get a lot of attention. It's just not positive, masculine attention that really fills in that void that we all know that they're missing, but people like this woman don't like to admit. To wrap this all up, in all honesty, this really does sound like the post some woman who's really insecure about dressing sexily has. In all honesty, someone who's truly confident in the way they dress and the way they appear wouldn't need to post any sort of picture or any sort of announcement that they deserve respect or that people shouldn't care about the way they dress. They would just do it. Why? Well, because they have confidence. That's why. They don't need to put up a facade or to show you that they have confidence. They just need to live their life, and everyone around them will see and understand that. So with that being said, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.